दोस्तों इस क्लास में आपको मैं प्रेसिडेंट स्पीच की डिक्टेशन प्रोवाइड करने वाला हूं। 1000 या उससे ज़्यादा के वर्ड्स की ही ये डिक्टेशन सभी होंगी। सो आपको मैं डिक्टेशन प्रोवाइड कर रहा हूं 80 WPM पर। बी रेडी फॉर इट। आई एम ग्लैड टू बी हियर at an event that commemorates two different but in a sense related landmarks for the Supreme Court of India and for the delivery of justice in our country. Today, I am happy to inaugurate the additional building complex of the Supreme Court, a 21st century home for India's apex judicial institution. I am also happy to receive and be introduced to translations of 100 important judgments of the Supreme Court. These will now be available in a variety of regional and Indian languages and accessible to hundreds of millions of our fellow citizens who may not know English. As a former member of the Supreme Court Bar, I have spent many productive professional years in the Supreme Court. I have very fond memories of its courtrooms, registry, and particularly the bar library. The architecture and history of the Supreme Court building have always been a source of fascination. The Supreme Court was the first large-scale public structure built in our capital after independence. It was also the first major state building to be designed by an Indian architect in what had till only recently been an imperial city. The building was designed with aesthetic care. It merged remarkably with other structures in its neighborhood, including Rashtrapati Bhavan and Parliament House, part of which was, in fact, the original location of the Supreme Court. In August 1958, my predecessor and the first President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, inaugurated the Supreme Court building. While the building has expanded since then, it had become obvious for some years now that increasing demands required a whole new complex. Today's inauguration is a result of those efforts, for which I must congratulate the Supreme Court and the judicial fraternity, as well as the Government of India and the agencies responsible. The additional building complex, I am told, will host a registry, a library, conference and seminar halls, and facilitate the storage of records. While the look of the complex is traditional and in keeping with the design integrity of the main Supreme Court building, I am happy to learn that green and energy efficient technology have been put to good use. I understand that state of the art waste and water management mechanisms have been installed, as well as a solar power grid. This is welcome news. I am confident that such initiatives will henceforth be standard practice in all our public construction projects. Ladies and gentlemen, the additional building complex for the Supreme Court will no doubt lead to greater comfort for judges, lawyers, litigants, and others connected with the court and court matters. However, we must appreciate the broader spirit behind it. Much more than physical ease, such infrastructure should provide benefits in enhancing efficiency and speed of adjudication, disposal of cases, and delivery of justice. The ultimate test of any expansion of this nature must be in terms of what it brings to ordinary citizens and litigants and to their quest for justice. For a considerable period, and especially since assuming office as the President of India, I have been advocating the need to provide certified, translated copies of High Court judgments in the local language of the state or region, as well as translated copies of Supreme Court judgments in Indian languages. At our first meeting after the Chief Justice of India, Justice Ranjan Gogoi, took office in October 2018, I mentioned this to him. To my delight, his response was instant and positive. He told he had been thinking on similar lines. The collection of translated judgments presented to me today is an outcome of his sincere efforts and those of other judges and officials of the Supreme Court. While this is sound logic, I would urge that the purview and ambition of the project not be limited by utilitarian purposes. Our aim should be to ensure that the maximum number of judgments of the Supreme Court and the High Courts should be available in major Indian languages. Ideally, this should include judgments on crucial constitutional matters. In the initial period, this will be a boon to litigants, but eventually it will help spread the light of legal learning and understanding of the nuances of law across our country. It will assist in building a legally aware and enlightened society. I recognize that translation can be a long and laborious task. Yet, here technology can come to our assistance. I must appreciate the Supreme Court's open mindedness in developing and deploying software that translates judgments texts into different languages. I am certain that with time and experience, the software program will only improve and incorporate many more languages. Digital technologies and artificial intelligence often pose tricky questions and challenges for our courts. By deploying them for translation, our judiciary is converting such challenges into opportunities. As I conclude, I must emphasize my optimism that the new beginnings being made today will go a long way in providing speedy justice to our citizens and to those who come to the Supreme Court for a fair process and a fair judgment. The efficiency and responsiveness of the judicial system is dependent on both quality and quantity. While the quality of our judges and the independence of our judiciary are recognized around the world, the problem of numbers and vacancies has arisen from time to time. Even so, today we are in the happy position that all 31 vacancies in the Supreme Court have been filled by able judges. This has happened after a full decade, and for this achievement too, I must congratulate the Collegium and the government for working together with such understanding and urgency. With the court at full strength, with a new building complex, and with a commendable program of translating judgments into Indian languages in operation, the Supreme Court is at a very exciting phase in its long and illustrious history. The members of the bar too have a key responsibility towards the delivery of justice. I am confident that with this new beginning, they will fulfill their mandate with renewed vigor. With those words, I wish the Supreme Court and I wish all of you, its stakeholders, the very best for the future. Thank you. दोस्तों इसी के साथ डिक्टेशन फिनिश होती है। उम्मीद करता हूँ आप लोगों ने बहुत अच्छे से लिखा होगा। मैटर बहुत ही सुंदर है और इसको डिक्टेट करने में मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा है। उम्मीद कर रहा हूँ कि आप लोगों ने बहुत अच्छे से लिखा होगा। आप लोगों के पॉजिटिव कमेंट्स मुझे दिखाई दिए हैं जिससे कि काफ़ी मोटिवेशन मुझे मिली है। तो इसी तरीके से कोशिश करूँगा आगे कि आपको मैटर्स में प्रोवाइड कर सकूँ। जितना मेरे से हो सकेगा उतना मैं आप लोगों के लिए करूँगा। बाकी लेट्स सी। तो आपसे मुलाकात करूँगा अगली क्लास में अगले ट्रांसक्रिप्शन के साथ। इस वीडियो को लाइक करना मत भूलना और अगर चैनल पर नए हो तो सब्सक्राइब कर लेना। बाय बाय, टेक केयर।